AI is now a new tool set that can potentially better solve some of these problems, solve problems that weren't solvable before.
Okay, welcome back to the Marketing Playbook, presented by Details Interactive, Amperity, and Element. Here, you'll take away 3 game-winning marketing plays every episode to take back to your team. I'm your host, Mark Friedman, and my career has been focused on direct-to-consumer marketing, direct mail, physical retail, and digital commerce. This is episode number 96, and today's guests are Doug Weich and Shirley Gao. This is such an important episode that we needed 2 people to tell the story. Doug's the founder and CEO of Sofel, a retail and digital consultancy, and Shirley is the CIO at PacSun. Doug is one of the co-founders of the Retail AI Council, and Shirley is a member. They joined me to talk about this new organization, why it was formed, and the work that they're doing. We also talk about AI, artificial intelligence, which has been making so much news for the last few years. Before we get started, a quick thank you, as always, to Max Brandstetter of the Wild Business Growth Podcast for producing this episode. You can reach him at max@maxpodcasting.com to help bring your podcast to life. Let's open the playbook. Ready, break. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the Marketing Playbook Podcast. Today, I'm joined by 2 guests, Doug Weich and Shirley Gao. Doug is founder and CEO of Sofel, a management consultancy helping retailers and direct-to-consumer brands innovate to create compelling customer experiences. Doug is also a connector with the Retail AI Council, a retailer-built, retailer-led organization dedicated to helping retailers embrace the transformative potential of AI. And Shirley is the Chief Digital Information Officer at PacSun, an apparel brand delivering brands and styles to a community of inspired youth. Shirley is responsible for enterprise and international commerce technology, including omnichannel, social commerce, wholesale, supply chain, business intelligence, IT infrastructure, and security. Doug and Shirley, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, and thank you both for joining. Shirley, you must be busy with that long list of things in your bio, lots of important aspects of the business. So as listeners know, I like to start the show a little bit, giving a background of the guest, let the guest do it, kind of your first story. So let's throw it to Doug first. Where you grew up, was there anything in your upbringing, Doug, that suggested you'd be in the kind of career that you have today?
Mark, thank you. It's a great question. I was born with retail and technology in my blood. My uncles owned a fruit stand in Brooklyn, and my father founded BJ's Wholesale Club, named it after his daughter, my sister, Beverly Jean. So when I started Sofel, it was very much with that technology retail bent, but I named it after my 2 daughters, Sophie and Ellen.
Wow. That's really cool. So I've known you for a long time. I didn't know the Brooklyn connection. I grew up in Brooklyn as well, and I absolutely did not know the BJ's connection. Well, that's really cool.
I think so.
Yeah. And Shirley?
Hi, I was born in China, and my father is a well-known computer science and information technology leader in China. And I was born with computer science in my genes. So the interesting was that when I was learning 1 plus 1 equals 2 in elementary school, my dad also taught me 1 plus 1 can also equal to 10. So it was really through the all years, my whole career is on computer science.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought you were going to tell me he taught you that 1 plus 1 could also equal 3, which many people
No, 10.
think.
So again, that binary, is all along. I think some sort of affected my thinking. So I'm a very much a logical. I have such a deep developer background. I had my education up to master's degree in China. I came to work as a developer, so I have a long developer application system background. So I'm like that kind of show me the screenshot, the fact is 0 or 1. There's in binary world, there's no something in the middle. Show me the fact.
I started my career as an accountant And I learned that there is black and white, but there also is gray, even in numbers. So I've taken that into my marketing experience as well. All right, good first stories there. Let's jump right into the main topic of what we wanted to talk about today, and that is AI, artificial intelligence. It's the buzzword of the moment or the last few years, seemingly in digital commerce and in technology. Every few years, we have something, kind of new that everybody rallies around. Everybody wants to know what you're doing around a particular thing. And now the question is around AI. So, Doug, from a perspective of the work that you do, consultancy, retail organizations, why don't you explain for the listeners how you think about what AI is?
So, as a management consultancy, we work with a lot of retailers from startups to some of the largest. And as you mentioned, this is the next hot topic. We're trying to help our retailers figure out how they can best make use of this. The challenge today, like it is with every new technology, is to figure out where the Goldilocks point is, how not to underinvest, not overinvest, and how to invest in the right places. What works, what doesn't. And that was really the genesis of what brought about the Retail AI Council. This is too big for any one retailer to do on their own. They need to network with others within the council to figure out how best to approach this opportunity.
Okay, and Shirley, you come at things a little bit differently. You're working for a brand, running all of the technology, and I am imagining that your board, your president, others in the organization are coming to you and saying, "Shirley, how are we leveraging AI?" So, what does AI mean coming from your perspective?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm supposed to do a board presentation to explain what Paxan has been doing. So to this Paxan business, I think there are in general two sides of the AI applications. One is with the long history, the machine learning and enterprise side of, using machine learning to improve efficiency, the large amount of data and analytics, etc. On the other side is the generative AI that recently have become so popular, so viral, they get into everybody's life and the business, so that with large language model and the generative interactive AI, that brings this technology to the front end, to customer facing, consumer facing. So what do we do that to interact with the customers, with the associates, right, with individual people? So again, there are two perspectives, and the potential is huge. It's every department, every corner in the business is going to significantly change how we run business with consumers as well how we operate the company.
So you mentioned generative AI. Explain to the folks, that are not all that knowledgeable about AI and the specific kinds of AI. Generative and predictive seemingly are the two big areas of AI that we hear about. How are they different?
Okay, if we go all the way back to how the LLM is made and how the language model is AI is trained to predict what this conversation means. So it's a long thing. And I hosted a Paxan AI think tank, and we started a year ago. And the first session, I invited the MIT AI professor. He gave us a whole 1 hour lecture about, to start with the cat sit at the corner, so etc. So it's so fascinating. But it's a long story short about business side. So generative is more of a real-time interactive use case, is more in this customer facing creative versus the deep learning or the large language model training is to have a comprehensive understanding of the big data, and then to apply that knowledge to business, such as forecast, such as analytics, such as the data that's not possible for a human being to understand and analyze at a very short time. But AI has such a power that sort of with no time, that with such an amount of data possible. Think about that type of GPU, that thinking computing power. It's not possible for human being, but now it is unlocked, it's made available with even low cost for our business and operation.
So, Doug, when folks come to you and want to talk about their problems, are they coming to you with, "Hey, we want to get into AI," or are they coming to you with a business problem that they have, where you then come back and say, "Look, there's a tool to help get you where you want to be, and it can leverage AI to solve your problems"?
So it's much more the latter. Businesses and the executives running those businesses need to solve business problems. AI is now a new tool set that can potentially better solve some of these problems, solve problems that weren't solvable before. There are certainly plenty of retail executives who come to us and say, listen, we know this thing called AI exists. We're trying to figure out how to make this tool set better available to our enterprise so that we can take advantage of it. So it's a little bit of both, but most of the time it's driven by a business problem.
Yeah. And, it's interesting. People likely have heard of Chat GPT, kind of put the AI in the hands of a dumb like me. And, I was playing this morning, I needed to write a job description. And I went to Chat GPT and I put in one or two sentences about what it was that I needed a job description, for. And in 12 seconds, it came out with something that was every bit as good, probably better than what I could have done myself and probably would have taken me an hour.
That's a great example. I've done the same thing, and here's a little cheat. I put in our URL, our company URL, and it tailored the job description specifically for our company.
Mm, love it. Okay. Love it.
I can share something. It's more in the real life. Is fun for me. And my father, as I said, he's a computer science professor, but he's now like 80, 86 years old. So this is so new to him. And he wants that. So I installed the ChatGPT on his cell phone. He now lives in Southern California. I moved him from China here 2 years ago, and he has a little garden. And then he wanted to know, somehow the tomato didn't grow well. And so he started talking to ChatGPT, why my tomato didn't grow well. So ChatGPT gave him advice. And he even went to this, he goes, ChatGPT, can you remember our conversation? I now live in Southern California. And are you giving me a recommendation that's local to the weather, to the temperature? And can you remember that going forward? I don't have to remind you. This is just so fun and so fascinating.
Wow, that's incredible. We could probably talk all day about the potential use cases, and we'll get into that in a second. Thriving brands today have one thing in common. They make it a priority to understand their customers. Imperity uses AI to unify customer data and help businesses know exactly who their customers are and what they care about most. Find new customers, grow loyalty, get better return on ad spend, and manage privacy compliance. An accurate, unified customer data foundation connected with the teams and tools that need it makes everything you do with customer data work better. Build your strategy on Amperity, the platform for customer data. Learn more at amperity.com. Let's talk about the Retail AI Council. Doug, you kind of spearheaded this with a number of other folks, but why don't you start us off? Tell us what the council is all about. What was the void that you felt like needed to be filled, and how did you get started?
It became really obvious very quickly. AI is too big for any one company to be able to try and solve. Even the biggest companies, Google and Amazon, are partnering with other companies to try to bring better solutions to market faster. As a small consultancy, Sofel's got as limited resources as every other company out there. We knew there was only so much within our capability, and the same with all of our clients. We work with hundreds of other retailers, and none of them are as big as Amazon. They all need a lot of help. And so the idea of the council came about from speaking with our C-level executive retail clients as to how we can best help each other. And it became very obvious that we needed to meet regularly, develop some education for ourselves and for our teams, to share information, to network amongst each other. And that's really what the genesis of the council was.
It's been in existence for how long now?
As an idea, a year. As a practical, real council where people come to a meeting, about 5 months.
Okay, good. And I will for sure forget. So while I'm thinking about it, how do people start to participate, join the council? What do they need to do?
Go to retailAIcouncil.com. On the bottom of every page, there's a very simple form. Just fill out your name and your email. Membership is free. It's open to everyone. We've got retailers, software companies, investment bankers, professors, students, you name it. Everybody seems to have a vested interest and wants to learn more and participate. Let us know how, and we'll be happy to help try and make it happen.
And Shirley, what was your motivation to get involved?
Yeah, I've been with the council for about 2 months. My motivation is that I have a big role for PacSun. I also have been in this industry, retail industry, for about 20 years. Again, with my background in technology, I recognize the pivotal role that AI plays such an important role in retail. It's going to shape our future of retail. So joining the Retail AI Council really aligns with my position and my commitment to the brand. I believe that for me to contribute in this council, that I can share my experience, my learnings, and then also help the others. I think collaboration with the retail, the technology providers, and even I think Doug even included investors, right? So any aspect around retail, I think is going to help us to unlock the new opportunities and also figure out the right compliance and security protection for the industry as a whole. So I really aim to leveraging this such a great opportunity to work with all the type of leaders and to bring my experience and my contribution to this industry.
And Shirley, with respect to working in a retailer, are you thinking at the moment that just about, well, maybe this is a leading question. I was going to say, are you thinking that there are AI capabilities within almost all of the departments and organizations within a company that can leverage this? Are there certain groups of a business that have some low-hanging fruit, things that are easier to get at, right at the beginning here of AI?
It's both. So there are definitely low-hanging fruits that actually AI is not new. Machine learning is not new. We actually deployed it a while back ago. It's just like we don't call it out. And sometimes it's too much to explain. Like Jenna and I laughed at, she said she was somewhere and she asked people then who have not used AI, people raise their hand. And then she goes, do you use software for fraud protection? Yes, that is with AI technology, right? So I think we'll be using that somewhere in the business that we're not aware of or we didn't call out. But generative AI is new. So there are definitely new hanging fruit that I've already started using different software about 6 months ago. So we continue to add more integration. And like Doug explained earlier, to work with Microsoft, Salesforce, Google, definitely. I've been having weekly meetings with Google. I just have 2 business cases now going into the marketing area. I have a long list, etc. There's definitely somewhere that I want to be more conservative and maybe later time, such as bringing AI into the HR department, okay? And something like I'm working with Google to talk about use AI to generate marketing content or generate model but without a face. I'm very conservative about either use AI generated model with the face or using AI generated item photo on our actual human being models. So anything that touches human being privacy, customer, etc., I think I need to learn more. But a lot of like I co-developed a AI analytics with our business intelligence provider. So we put a study group, work with them, share business case, they develop it, we test it. So that kind of co-development is wonderful, and it's actually getting into the real resolving real business problems rather than a technology created more marketing initiative. So again, I think of my assumptions is every department in the company can be powered by AI, but there's a matter of time, security, privacy, and there's definitely different timing and different priorities.
Yeah, you called out a couple of things there. One of them is around privacy and security, which are certainly things that people are concerned about with respect to AI. The other thing that you called out, which is I've had a number of conversations around this, is guys, look, there's plenty of stuff we've been doing previously that was really AI. We just didn't call it AI,
Yeah,
right? So much
yeah.
of what we were doing in digital commerce was leveraging information. The other thing, and maybe I'll throw this one to Doug, one of the things that you hear about concerns with as we advance, and you hear this all the time when we advance with technology, is the potential displacement of workers in certain areas where their jobs may be considered redundant because some of the work can be done through AI.
So this is a byproduct of every valuable new technology. It's going to displace some workers. It's going to require people to change jobs or to have their jobs changed to better leverage this new technology to be more effective, to be more efficient. I don't think there's any doubt about that. A fairly large value proposition that the solution providers are coming forward with are not just about new capabilities, but about more efficiency. And I've never met a retailer who doesn't have an eye towards efficiency and trying to save margin and come up with creative ways of offering their products to their consumers at either a lower price or higher margin.
Yeah, look, it's about reinvesting. Hopefully you're reinvesting dollars and taking them out of one pot and putting it into others, either to develop more technology or to generate more ideas for marketing or what have you. So we can't stand in the way of technology. Element is an award-winning advertising agency optimizing e-commerce campaigns around profit. In fact, they've helped 13 of their customers get acquired, with one selling for nearly $800 million and one that IPO'd recently. Plus, they were ranked as the 12th fastest growing agency in the world by Adweek. If you're an e-commerce business that needs help scaling your ads profitably, check them out at element.com, spelled ELUMYNT.com. So let's talk about a recent survey that the Retail AI Council did. Doug, why don't you kind of walk us through what the survey's goal was, and then maybe we can hit on some of the high points of what you found.
So, as I mentioned earlier, a big part of the mission of the council is to share information. And the survey was a great way to start doing that to a larger audience. The executive leadership committee is a dozen or so folks, like Shirley, who gets together regularly, but we have currently about 600 members, 595 to be exact. And we reached out to them about a month ago to say, what are your thoughts on these things? We asked 20 some odd questions, had a phenomenally high response rate from all of the members because they joined in order to be able to share information. So we learned a lot about where they are, why they're as far ahead as they are, why they're not further ahead, where the opportunities are that they see, the challenges. And we asked this for retailers and solution providers, tried to get both sides of the coin to see where the similarities were, where the differences were. And the results were much to be expected. There were a range of naysayers to enthusiasts and everywhere in between. Most people recognized the value, and almost none thought they were far enough advanced in where they needed to go, so they're increasing investments.
Shirley, from the perspective of within your business, I'm sure that there are people who are thinking that AI is just, Doug mentioned a naysayer kind of a thing. And then there's others that are probably gung ho. How are you managing the ones that are really pushing versus the ones that are going to need to be pulled, kicking and screaming?
Yes, that's a great question. I already felt that resistance. I think it's a concern of protecting resources. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want lose my team, right? So that kind of mentality. But again, every industrial revolution, this is how, regardless how intelligent AI is, it's still a technology. It's a tool. So Paxson has put ourselves in a very good position, starting from the senior leadership again. Even board members talk to me every time that I see them. They go, "How are you doing? What are you using?" We talk about that a lot. It's just in general the curiosity. And so we also, I mentioned earlier, we did a company-wide think tank. So it was very good with 50 people signed up, and then we continued to have multiple iterations. I think number one is that, senior leadership alignment, the position, the forward thinking, the attitude. Secondly is to continue to increase the company-wide education, ideation, and to motivate this curiosity. And then with the continual education, it's important to make it clear that, again, this is a tool that we're gonna, regardless you accept it now or later, it is a game-changing tool that you're gonna eventually to use it. It's better earlier than later to learn about it, to figure out how it works, and find the most suitable software or technology that's fit where your area, and then work with the technology provider and then to improve it. There's nothing perfect, right? And there's nothing that's suitable for everybody. Something that Walmart is doing, I may not be, or Macy's, it works wonderfully. It's not necessarily the right one for Paxson. So everything that I think this with this acceptive and adaptive attitude, I think that's crucial for each company.
Yeah, you said a few things there that I totally resonate with me. Number one, you've got to get, it's got to be led from the top down. Certainly you can have some grassroots stuff going on, people within the organization, but unless it's, commitment from the top, not only financial, but, head thought and brain cells, it's going to be very difficult. And then, as you were talking, I'm thinking, geez, I'm so old. I was in the catalog industry. I was telling you this at the beginning of the call. I was in the catalog industry to get my start. It was pre-web. And, when the web became a thing, right? I was now kind of moving into digital, and I had to try and bring along all these folks that thought that, geez, the web is just a fad. Catalog is going to be here forever. It's just going to cannibalize catalog. And, you have to progress and you have to, learn new things. So it's very similar to this.
There's a very interesting difference, though. Being of that age, similar to you, Mark, was around for the dot-com bubble and all of that. And being a nerd at the time, it was a lot of nerds who were bringing this to the forefront and telling the catalog people, no, people actually might want to shop on a computer. There was much more of a bottom-up approach. What we see in AI is that a lot of it is being driven by the top, almost to a fault. 60% of the council members are executives. And that has to change. The executives need to push AI down through their organization. They need to identify the budget, allow people the time to invest in their own learning, and foster that type of education throughout the organization in order for the change to be adopted, for people not to be as scared, and for the value to be created.
And what did you find in the survey with respect to which department within companies, were kind of driving this move into AI?
Digital had too much of a head start. As you mentioned before, it's been part of what they've been doing. Everybody who does product recommendations is using AI, and that's been going on for many years. IT and marketing are very close behind. Marketing, because there's so much new potential and interest from the generative AI and from predictive, and IT, because if they're good, that's what their job is to help usher in these new technologies.
Just switching gears, you made a comment which when I looked at the survey, kind of jumped out at me as well, that the solution providers are ahead of the curve when you compare it, to the retailers. I guess it wasn't a surprise to me, but it just hit me.
Retailers can't do much without the solution provider, so they better be ahead.
Right.
Um, End of the day, there's very little AI. Surely, maybe you can tell me I'm wrong. There's very little AI that retailers should be inventing themselves.
I am totally with you, Dog. But I'm just speaking for myself, for Paxson. We're a small brand, and although we're very popular with our customer who are Gen Z and Gen Alpha, but compared to Walmart, to Lululemon, we're very Nike, Adidas. We're a small brand. I don't have a huge IT budget. I don't have hundreds of IT developers, so that I do leverage the large companies. And I also leverage the startups who started as AI. But again, like Nikes, they have their capability of developing their own, which could be something that's really good for us as well someday. But at least for now, and for me, the advantage is really working with Google. And then I think the large companies, and they're also motivated, they have fund, they're available. So they will co-develop with us, and they come with me, and then I bring in my business stakeholders, and then we share our use case. We go, we want help here. Here are our pain points. Here's where that most value can be added. I think this is invaluable for the software or technology providers, and then they give us what they can bring in. So I think with this creation culture, that's going to be huge help for both the technology and retail.
So if I asked you both, if you had a crystal ball, how do you see retail going to be different in the future because of AI?
We view it from two sides. There's how the retailers are going to change because they want to change, how they infuse AI technology to create new capabilities, but also to do some of the same things more efficiently. But equally as important, and in some regards more interesting, certainly more challenging, is how AI is going to change the consumer and how retailers need to adapt to that. Web browsers are going to lose share. They did a little bit with voice controls and Siri. They're going to lose a lot more. So retailers need to not just be concerned about how they're using AI, but how their consumers are going to.
Shirley, any view on your crystal ball of how retail will be different because of AI?
I kind of feel like I cannot even imagine how the future would be, as I was sharing my thought with Doug earlier. So it was like 10, 20 years ago, there was a movie it's called The Minority Report. Tom Cruise, he walked into a store, it's a virtual screen, blah, 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 it's happening. It is happening now, right? And then so technology unlocks so much potential. I cannot imagine how the future is going to be, but I can only say that it's gonna be different. It's gonna be more convenient, more personalized. It only retailers who can stand at the edge of it can stay competitive, still be relevant to the customers, and who can be around in the future and be innovative, leverage technology. I think that's the only way that any retailer can go forward.
We talk a lot on the show about shiny object syndrome, which is something that retailers, digital commerce folks fall prey to all too often. Are we heading into another shiny object syndrome, or are we past that with AI, that it's already demonstrated its value and now we just have to figure out how to leverage it best?
I don't think it's begun to demonstrate it.
Mm.
I can give you a whole bunch of really shiny object case studies that are providing real world ROI today. We've got clients who are doing things today that they couldn't do yesterday. We've got one high end client who has postponed making their e-commerce site transactional because of the time it would take for a photo shoot. There's a bunch of startups, but one in particular called ICE that is allowing AI to completely generate the photo shoots using AI models, AI backgrounds. The only thing that's real is a photograph of the product, and it takes the product, puts it on the AI model, and they are absolutely disrupting the space and tremendously reducing the time and cost it takes to do those photo shoots. So much so that these companies that thought e-commerce wasn't commercially viable for their particular time and place are now reevaluating and launching things that they couldn't have done before. And that's just one of many, many examples.
Right. And are we going to get to a point though where, if you're a smaller brand that, the AI capabilities will filter down to you? Because, this feels like it's for the rich and for the large. Is that really a misnomer?
Entirely. To me, we've got clients who are very small. We have clients who are very large. It's about agility. It's about the proper application of the investment. Sure, if you have more money, you can do more things. Nobody's going to argue with that. But we work with many smaller companies, and there are some solution providers that make the integration and application, implementation of new technologies so cost effective and so easy. It's a downloadable widget from your app store, and you put it in and you flip a switch, and it's easier for smaller companies because they don't have to have as much change management of the impact through the rest of their organization. If you only have one store, you can see the impact. If you've got a little website, you don't have to worry about what the performance degradation is going to be. So I think big and medium-sized retailers better be looking over their shoulders, and it's really the ones in the middle that are the most challenged, where they don't have the ability to turn on a dime because they have a 100-store chain and a 9-figure e-commerce business, but they don't have $1 billion to spend in R&D. They're the ones who are really challenged because they have much of the same risk without all of the flexibility and agility.
Shirley, parting comments on AI.
Yeah, I totally agree with Doug. I think it's just the beginning. Like you, Mark, you were talking about, the age that we use the catalog for business, and now we're in this mobile device, and Paxson even has a mobile device for our consumers. So how we order, how we shop, now on Amazon, how we return is totally different than 10 years ago. Last July, I think after generative AI came to public, well-known MIT student invented a gadget that he wore it, and then it can read his mind. So without speaking, he was on a US news show or CNN news that the gadget read his mind, ordered the pizza delivered to the address. So again, how how can we imagine that's how can affect retail? Again, like Doc said, we are sort of a small business. Although we have 300 stores, very strong e-commerce business. However, compared to the giant retailers, we are still a small brand. However, our customers push us to stay at the edge because our customers are young. Again, I think the leveraging all type of technology, Google, Microsoft, I consider them the foundation building this technology. And then the startups that who have already productionized the software, the solution, then it's there, it's proven, somebody has used it, and we prove it through A/B testing. We plug it in, A/B tested, API calls, working fine. And then there's another different approach, which is that the MIT professor that he's specializing in AI. And then I shared our data with him. He looked it through. He goes, I can see here are the problems. Do you have a solution? I don't. He goes, we'll develop it for you. So that is some resources that I don't have to hire my AI scientist, my technologist, but then somebody out there, they're willing to invest to work with us. Again, this whole co-creation. For me, I want to be so practical, so agile that whatever works, let's try, prove it. It doesn't, fine, we learned. If it works, wonderful.
This is great stuff. Very interesting. Doug, if listeners want to find you, what's the best way?
LinkedIn. I welcome everybody to connect. I'm easy to find. Doug Weich, if you can spell Weich.
Weich.
Thank you.
And Shirley, where can folks find you?
LinkedIn works too. Shirley Gao, CIO at Pexon.
Okay. And Doug, one last time, if folks want to join the Retail AI Council, what should they do?
Please go to retailaicouncil.com. There's a form to fill out in the bottom of every page. All we need is your name and email.
Okay. Well, thanks. We'll be looking for new initiatives coming out of PacSun that are AI related. And Doug will keep following you on LinkedIn and see what the Retail AI Council can do.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's it. Today's game balls go to Doug Weich and Shirley Gao for coming on the Marketing Playbook. To me, today's 3 game-winning marketing plays were as follows. Number 1, the use of artificial intelligence has been with us for a long time. It's just the last few years that we've become more focused on what it is and what it can do for us. Sure, are there concerns like privacy and the potential impact to the workforce? But embrace the changes because this is not going away. Number 2, Doug and Shirley have demonstrated leadership within the retail community by establishing and working on the Retail AI Council. Think about how this can impact you, either with this council or other things in your life. Do you have a passion for something that you want to take a lead on? Do it. It can be rewarding, and you can help a lot of people that don't have the same initiative that you might have. And number 3, we've talked about the shiny object syndrome in this show before. For certain, the AI capabilities that are out there can be very compelling, but just because you can doesn't mean that you should. This is not right for all brands. The cost can be high and it can become distracting. But pick your spots and ease into this new world slowly to find a win for your business from which to build. Thank you, Playbook marketers, for listening to another episode. If you want to check out more pages of the Marketing Playbook, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast spot and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Until next time, the devil is in the details.